So this edition is very special, and we are doing this in English because I have here at my side my friend, the Marketing and Customer Engagement Vice President of SAS, and we are here to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence and some other very good stuff, okay? So first question for you, Bob, it's nice to have you here, right?
Great to be here.
We are now announcing this $1 billion investment in artificial intelligence, 1 billion, right?
Yes.
So what does it mean exactly for all the community, SAS community?
Well, you know, when we think about artificial intelligence and we think about analytics, we think of analytics as a big bucket of different techniques. And artificial intelligence, while there's a lot of hype and buzz around, is actually a subset of overall analytics. What we're looking to do is make a $1 billion investment into that subset. And so that investment manifests itself in different ways. We are building out SaaS cloud to allow our customers to go to our own cloud and use some of these algorithms and play with them and kind of engage with SaaS. Obviously, we're doing more research and development over the next couple of years to build out some more algorithms based on our customers' feedback. We're looking to build out different service teams. We're actually looking to build out infrastructure, figure out different ways that we could support GPUs. So the investment spans a bunch of different areas, but the center of the investment is really our customers' usage of SaaS and how they engage with us and how they engage with us as it relates to the topic of artificial intelligence.
Excellent, this is very exciting. I wonder, Bob, when we talk about artificial intelligence, some of the projects that we see in the market currently, some of the customers are experiencing this for the first time, right? So they used to rely on chatbots or eventually on some techniques that really are taking some advantage, of course, because it enhances the customer relationship. But I think there is something else, right, on this so many layers. When you think about advanced analytics, is one thing that I really am excited about is the ability that we have to have this decision engine in the top of everything. How does it work exactly?
So, you know, when we think about artificial intelligence today, there's, I would call it, different disciplines of artificial intelligence. You have natural language processing, natural language understanding, and think about that kind of as text analytics. Then you have computer vision, so doing analysis on video or image. You have machine learning as another, I would call it, discipline of artificial intelligence. But if you just think about organizations and what they're trying to do with this different data, whether it be text, video, image, organizations are trying to learn, right? They're trying to learn and engage. If you think about you and I growing up as infants, right? You see, you hear, you listen, you touch. All those things are ways humans learn. Now, with these algorithms and with these data types, basically organizations are using these artificial intelligence analytics to learn. But if you learn, that's great. But you have to automate the learning, and then you have to interact with your customer. So what we see is beyond AI, as we look at these algorithms, they have to be put into what I'll call a decisioning framework. So we can interact with the customer in real time. So whether it be a chatbot that's interacting with the customer, that chatbot has to be more intelligent. And how can the interaction with the chatbot be fed back into an algorithm to help the organization learn? So I see learning and automation being really front and center for organizations that are adopting artificial intelligence, and that automation becomes part of a decisioning cycle. So if I look out into the future, I actually think decisioning and automation of artificial intelligence is actually going to be the next big frontier in terms of what organizations are doing to turn this information into actionable intelligence.
Right, great. I wonder, so many companies are now investing on different technologies, right? There are technologies like Python, Lua, and other stuff. And SAS, for me, it seems that SAS is the only company that can embrace these different technologies and orchestrate them all, right? So Orchestration, I think, is a very important issue for so many companies currently. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think I'll answer that in two bits. First, customers are using things like R, Python, Lua. One of the things we realized we needed to do is we needed to embrace open source. So one of the things we did with VIA is to make sure that our architecture was open so we could leverage not only the skills that you've already invested in SAS, but a lot of these new skills that are coming into the organization. What we see right now is with the advent of all, a big volume of data scientists coming in and using different mathematical techniques, using different mathematical open source packages, what we see is kind of a challenge in terms of orchestration of all the different models and how we can deploy these models in rapid fashion. So the management and orchestration governance of the models is actually as important, if not more important, for a lot of our customers to figure out how can they get a model into production in a timely manner.
Great. So when we think about this orchestration layer and also about the decision layer, decision engine layer, what do you think could be the most relevant part of a project when the customers are trying to implement that? What are the best practices to do a good implementation using these two different layers?
That's a good question. I think it's going to depend on the use case. I think what I see in certain customer scenarios, so I'll give you certain customer scenarios. Certain customer scenarios, I see a pool of open source programmers, data scientists, and I see a lot of models being built, but not a lot of models being deployed. In those customer segments, orchestration and governance is front and center. In other customer situations, we have customers that are working on customer experience projects. They're using AI front and center in terms of their digital transformation. What I see with them is a combination of orchestration. They actually know what models they want to deploy. It's the decisioning engine and the interaction with the customer, taking the information from the customer, putting that into a model, and then redeploying that model for a next best offer, or for identifying a credit limit for a customer, or identifying the amount of risk you might have with a customer. So I see, I gave you two different scenarios. One where I see a lot of open source models being built very rapidly, and orchestration for that customer base tends to be front and center. In other cases where customers really have a very defined known business problem, it's the decisioning side more so than the orchestration side.
That's great. A final comment about, I remember that you explained to me this meaning of the three layers that an organization usually have in terms of systems, right? You said something about systems of record, system of intelligence, and systems of deployment or engagement, sorry. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, I think that really those concepts map to the future and really kind of this orchestration decisioning. So systems of record, most organizations have tons of different transactional systems. Those are their systems of record. Now, systems of intelligence is really where you're building an analytical layer across the systems of record. The systems of engagement are really these decisioning systems that create feedback loops back into the analytical models and back into the engagement with the customer. And I think as we go forward, we're going to hear more about things like, Gartner would talk about things like continuous intelligence. Other organizations are talking about systems of intelligence. And I believe that analytics, the orchestration of analytics, and the decisioning are going to be front and center of organizations. And we're going to hear more and more about the topic of continuous intelligence as organizations become, I would say, more real-time or almost human-like in terms of how they engage their customers for a next best offer or any decision cycle that they're involved in.
That's great to hear. I think you made a very good point, and I really appreciate all the comments that you provided to us. And guys, I just want to finish saying thanks, Bob, and also thank you for your audience as usual. I can say to you that SAS is ready for the digital transformation in a way that any other company can do it. And I would provoke you to be here at SAS Brazil to know our innovation lab, our customer experience lab, and understand a little bit more how can you move things with your power of your mind, okay? So great. Have a nice day, everybody, and see you later. Bye-bye.